And good evening and welcome to the 7th edition of Minority Caucus here on Joy News TV. Feels great to be back on set as I was out of the jurisdiction on an important assignment last week. Many thanks to my colleague Peter Bamfo for sitting in for me while I was away and to continue the discussion on the game-changing superior manifesto, the People's Manifesto. Tonight, on Minority Caucus, we will discuss the pertinent issues that have characterized the voter registration exhibition exercise and matters arising. If you recall, during the voter registration exercise, which commenced earlier this June, the National Democratic Congress brought to the attention of the Electoral Commission some challenges that confronted the process, such as poor public education on registration centers and schedules, poor knowledge and appreciation of EC officials about the process, non-availability of power to charge equipments, faulty and slow equipment in some parts of the country, and a host of registration anomalies which was virtually disregarded by the Electoral Commission. Aside the host of registration anomalies, there were reports of voter suppression and military intimidation in some parts of the country, especially as centers considered as NDC strongholds. It's mind-boggling that this simple exercise of compiling a voter roll witnessed at least 2 cases of murder, including that of a young teacher at Banda and the other at Kwanta in Doma West constituency, all in the Bono region. The 2020 mass voter registration exercise has been described by many as the most violent voter registration exercise ever conducted in the Fourth Republic of Ghana. Fast forward, this week, the Electoral Commission has commenced the exhibition of the voters' register, the final opportunity, and I mean the final opportunity, for all registered voters to authenticate their personal information as well as to confirm if their names are on the register. It has come to the fore that all the issues raised by the NDC during the registration process, which was disregarded by the Jean Mensah-led Electoral Commission, has resurfaced. Due to the increasing reports of the challenges with the voter register and the exhibition process, the flag bearer and leader of the National Democratic Congress, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, has cut short his tour in the Bono region and has returned to the capital to address a major press conference tomorrow at exactly 1 p.m. Tonight on Minority Caucus, we will advance the discourse on the grave anomalies that have characterized both the registration process and the ongoing exhibition exercise, which is likely to threaten the conduct of a peaceful, free and fair elections on December 7th this year. And in the studio with me to have that discussion is the Director of Elections of the NDC. Don't go away. We'll be right back after the short break. Okay, so welcome, Honorable Elvis Zefria, and I must admit you're doing a very good job as Elections Director, and you're also a member of IPAC. So once again, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Obi, and let me apologize for my lateness. The traffic was horrible, so I had to jump on an Okada.
Okada saved the day, right?
I'm telling you.
The night, I must say. It's been reported that most of the exhibition centers in the district do not have biometric verification devices, and even though the EC budgeted for these devices and it was supposed to be procured, these polling agents do not have them. For instance, out of 1,078 polling stations in the whole of Western North region, only 400 had BVDs. What has occasioned this situation in the various polling stations? So
this question is properly directed to the EC, because as you rightly said, they budgeted for, and I had the documents, but I think I left it in the car, it's on the way. They budgeted for, and approval was given to them by Parliament to purchase 75,000 biometric verification devices. So right now we have about 33,467 polling stations. So I'm sure they estimated 35,000 per polling station times 2. So 75,000. So they have extra, or they are supposed to have extra.
Of course.
And then they announced that they were going to deploy only 5,000 without giving any reason why they were going to do that. Because the whole idea behind exhibition is that when you go and check your name, the system that will be used on election day must verify you to show that what is on the list, your card and the machine correspond. That's what is supposed to happen. But they are not doing that. So have they procured the equipment? If they have, why have they not deployed it? And why only 5,000? Who determined those 5,000? Who determines which one goes where? To which constituency, to which polling station? Nothing of the sort. So we never had an IPAC meeting on this.
Exactly. And against this backdrop that you have just given us, and against that backdrop that we experienced during the voter registration exercise, what are your general impressions about the Jean Mensah-led Electoral Commission?
First of all, let me say that Jean Mensah is somebody who ordinarily will qualify to be a sister and a friend. I've known her for a very long time. We've had a very good working relationship through her IEA and other networks that she had. Unfortunately, when she became Electoral Commission, I started seeing a different person. I mean, this is Jean Mensah that we went to an IPAC meeting. We were given an agenda, a 4-item agenda. We had 3.5-hour deliberation. We finished that meeting. They come out and issue a statement, and in that statement, they said, we have all agreed that there will be a biometric register, a new biometric register. And that was not on the agenda. Exactly. It was never discussed. And yet, Jean Mensah,
why do you think that they will put out such an information?
Because they had an agenda. That is what is unfolding before all of us, okay? They wanted to change the register so that all these things that are going on, and I'm going to go through all of them, they'll be able to have access to the data and manipulate the data.
So do they have the access now?
Oh, they do.
And will they be able to manipulate
it? They will attempt. But the good thing is that everything they attempt to do, we catch them.
Okay. So tell us about the things that they have done that you have been able to point it out.
So let's place the discussion in the proper context.
Very well.
I hate to say I told you so, but it was in these very studios and many other places where we cited copious reasons why we did not need a new register. Apart from the issues of cost and all that, we cited time. And we said, you are bringing in new technology that has not been tested before. We don't have enough time for the entire process. If you deploy that process and something goes wrong, you will not have enough time to make the necessary corrections. And it opens the system to manipulation. So let's use the old register, which you yourself had used for limited registration and for referendum, and you yourself said the system was good. Let's use it. If there's a need for any upgrade, you said no. Again, the EC, and it's important that I said it, their duplicity was manifested during the discussion on the new register. They stated clearly in black and white, in the document which they presented to the Ghanaian public, to civil society, the diplomatic corps, slide 27, they said that they were going to rely on the old voter ID card. And so they'll just pick your information from the old voter ID card. This is a document they canvassed around the country copiously and extensively. What happened? Last minute, they changed their mind. They did not explain why. They didn't tell anybody. They just decided that we needed a new ID card. So that gives you reason to think that.
So that means that there was no IPAC meeting?
No. There is somebody behind the scenes manipulating the EC. Because if the EC, and evidently there are some intelligent people there, will sit down and put a document together. That document is like their Bible and Quran.
Exactly.
Okay? And in that document, in slide 27, they state clearly and unambiguously that they're going to use, even though they'll do a new voter card, they'll use the old card and also use the data and transpose that data into the new system. They said it. That's their Bible.
Yeah.
For no reason, no explanation.
It was pushed aside.
It was pushed aside. So you ask yourself, what compelled them to change their mind at the last minute without any reasonable explanation? So that's the context. So don't do the register because all these things that we are saying will happen. They didn't listen. So we want to do the register. One, the law, the CI, says that you must provide a copy of the register to the political parties before exhibition. So they wrote a letter to us asking us to bring a flash drive so we can get a copy of the register. We did that on the 7th of September. 7th September, they took our flash drive and they returned it to us on the 15th of September.
That's 8 clear days?
Yes, 16th of September, actually.
Okay, 16th.
16th of September, when they returned it to us, then they called us back on the 17th that we should bring it back because there were mistakes on the drive.
What they put on the flash,
yes.
Right?
So we took it back. When we took it back, we got it back on the 18th at 8:46 p.m. That is a day after the first day of the exhibition.
So clearly you did not have the register before the exercise started.
Exactly. Meanwhile, the law says you should give it to political parties ahead of time so we can make copies and send to our various constituencies. They didn't do that. Again, they are also enjoined by law. The same CI 23 or so says they should place copies of the provisional register on their website. You can check right at www.ec.gov. It's not there. They've not posted it there. You know why? Because the first one they sent us was full of errors. And that's how come the Sherman MP went and did not see his name. And by then, they had distributed it to all their district officers. They couldn't call it back. So afterwards, then they now called those ones back and then gave them the current one, which is even still full of anomalies.
So this happened in day what, 2 or 3?
So a day before the 18th, 17th.
You're giving the flash drive back.
Exactly. We gave the flash drive back. Then, so first day,
you didn't have
we didn't have it.
You had it by close of day.
Yes, but their officers had it.
Yeah.
All right? So if their officers had it, that means that their officers had the one that was faulty.
Exactly.
That's why the Sherman MP, when he went to check his name, he could not find his name and the names of 21,000 others. Okay? Then they managed to replace ours and replaced all the others.
After how many days?
Within 24 hours.
Okay.
Okay. When the Sherman MP complained, what they did was they then went to the second day information, printed out the Sherman MP's name, and in their response, put that out to make it look like the Sherman MP lied. That is the level of duplicity of this electoral commission. In fact, I stopped going to IPAC meetings. Now we are very competent people. So, because I hate lies. You can do anything to me. I don't like lying. So we send competent representatives. Because when we go there, they spend the first 2 minutes, let us pray and pray. You are praying for what? You are praying on top of evil. God doesn't
on top of lies.
Lies. I mean, they are anointed and baptized with lies. So they lie without any compulsion. You remember, we've had by-election. I also was by-election. Everybody saw the violence. People were maimed. People were injured.
They didn't see.
They asked the everything went on well.
It went very well, smoothly.
Limited registration, violence. Even people died. Have you had EC condemned?
No.
So if you have this kind of EC, but let me just come back to. So again, shortness of time, okay? The previous exhibition exercises in 2012, we had 11 days from 1st to 10th September. And that one too, they didn't give us BVDs. And if you recall, that is what led to voting a second day.
Yeah.
So an electoral commission that is learning its lessons, in 2016, they gave us what, 21 days exhibition with BVDs. And even that one, it was only a limited registration. Then in 2020, when you've done a new registration and you have almost 17 million people, you give us 8 days.
Why?
Because,
so clearly you've not learned from your past mistakes.
And also because they've boxed themselves into a corner. You see, the situation in which we are, because electoral issues are very technical, people don't really get it. But we are heading to danger. You know the danger?
Tell me about it.
The EC has put itself in a very difficult situation such that if it's not careful, it's not going to be able to meet constitutional timelines for filing of nomination, for parliamentary candidates and presidential candidates, and then to have a final register. So they're using shortcuts. As I speak to you now, before you exhibit a register, you have to do what we call deduplication, okay? And then those who did double registration, you have to get them out. As I speak to you now, that has not been done. Our representative on the deduplication committee is my deputy, Honorable Amate. Honorable Amate went to 2 meetings. 2 meetings of this EC. The third meeting, they've not been able to call the meeting for them to have the deduplication. It is only after our press conference that they sent a message that tomorrow they should come for a deduplication meeting.
When the exercises are ongoing.
Exactly. So what are you going to do at that meeting? Because you need to do deduplication and adjudication, remove all those names, and put them out there. So you haven't done all these things. The last meeting was on the 27th of August. They were supposed to meet on the 3rd of September. They've not been able to meet. And now they are calling a meeting in the middle of, the exhibition. Now, the most critical one, the Blekuma Central Constituency video, which came out on Friday, 18th September. Yeah. Had it not been for that video, and mind you, before then, we had reports. For example, Honorable Eric Opuku had called us that in a snaffle. They were calling some of his the people that they should come for new cards. So we said, what are these new cards? So we started checking. Apparently, it was going on all over the place. And the political parties were not told about it? We were not told. But can that happen? No, it must not. Is that constitutional? At all, it must not, and it cannot and should not happen. So why is it happening? Because we have, it beats my imagination. I can't understand it. Blatant abuse of office. Irregularity of the highest order. And there's nothing political parties can do? Oh, there are many, many things we can do, and it will unfold. Tomorrow, when the flag bearer speaks, it will unfold. But what I want to assure them is that they should ask themselves, how come that everything they do, even what they plan in their bedrooms, we get to know? That should tell them that we are one step ahead of them. They should be worried. They should be worried. I want to talk about the PIN numbers being issued to multiple applicants. Okay. Is it accustomed to any biometric process or database? Look, it's like going to a bank and saying, the bank people will say, well, your PIN number is the same as his PIN number, your PIN number. It's absolutely incredible. It's the most incredulous thing you can think about. Against the background of the fact that these people said the old register was bloated and they gave them almost 1 billion CDs to spend. In fact, we just checked this over 1 billion. And they were going to do a brand new register that have no problem. And then you go and do a register and people have similar PIN numbers. It's unthinkable, it's unheard of. And so this can be due to one, incompetence, or the equipment that you bought were defective. And thirdly, you remember in our previous press conferences, we kept on saying that easy. You have transferred all the experienced data people from the head office and sent them to the regions. And the people that you've brought there, I remember I read that press statement. I said they have dubious and questionable background. In fact, people believe that they are from national security. So you have a situation where you are managing a database, you don't have experienced people, what do you think will happen? And apart from that, you also want to cheat. So if you add incompetence to attempting to cheat, what do you get? We'll talk about that when we come back. We'll take a short commercial break. We'll be right back.
On the 18th of September, the Electoral Commission started the exhibition of the voters' register. All the political parties have been on the campaign trail, and we've been encouraging our supporters to go and check their names in the new register. Many have gone to check, and in many places there are anomalies, several anomalies that our party has detected. In any exhibition of a register, there will be few anomalies that are normally easy to correct. But we also know that anytime we've done a registration of voters, we have done it in good time so that if there are anomalies, we can correct them. When this government decided, and the Electoral Commission, that they were going to do a new register, we warned them that the time left was so short that if you compiled a register and there were fatal flaws in the register, you will not have enough time to do the correction before the election. And let me say, a voter's register is the most important document in any election. If the voter's register is not credible or is full of errors, it makes it difficult to have a free, fair, and transparent election. As it is, recently, we saw a video of voters' registration cards being issued. And the video went viral. It turned out that these were EC officers issuing voters' cards. Today, the EC issued a statement and admitted that, yes, these cards were being issued at the EC offices because of some duplications they had found out. The political parties are the main stakeholders in any election. And so while the exhibition of the register is going on, we have our agents at all the polling stations supervising the registration. Now, if there was an issue in compiling the register where the codes of the various equipment were found to be duplicates, and it was necessary to issue voters' cards, why were the political parties not informed? And the point even is, if you issue those new voters' cards at your district office, how will the people whose cards are affected know so that they can come and give back the old card and collect the new cards? There's so much wrong going on. The incompetence of this Electoral Commission is legendary because of the seriousness of the reports I'm receiving from my elections directorate. I've decided to curtail my campaign in the Bono region at this point and go back to Accra to ascertain and verify the reports and to make the views of our party known to Ghana and the rest of the world.
One of the reasons I admire my flag bearer, he simply is on top of his brief. He understands the issues. He's able to explain it to the electors for them to understand exactly what the pressing issues are. And I think that he raised very interesting issues. I want you to take us through it. He says that this Electoral Commission's incompetence is legendary. Yeah. And you talk about the incompetence and the cheating. Take me through that.
Okay, so what the EC has done is that they've made negative history. Okay? Negative history because I've told you about the PIN numbers, which should not happen because it's computer generated. Yeah. You know, if you input 100 names, the computer should generate 100 names for you. It's so simple. So this is basic and fundamental. So if you're not getting this basic and fundamental right, then what else can you get right? Then you have situation, and I've just given you a document. These are specific examples. And we just pick because if we would have to bring a whole book. Yeah. This is just a few examples. We sampled some of the regions. Okay. In some polling stations, you go to a polling station, you have maybe 400 people. All those 400 people, it will be your picture.
400 people using Obobia's picture?
Yes, your picture. So the name will come, Kofi Mensa, your picture. Adjamasa, your picture. Oforiwa, your picture. Azuma, your picture.
So what could have happened?
It's a mess. First of all, it's possible that they bought inferior equipment. You know, procurement. One of the things that, and Imani did all the analysis, exactly. That if you look at the cost components and the kind of quotations they were giving, they were simply outrageous. So it is possible that it was a chop, you know. So they did they bought shoddy quality equipment. Two, in any case, they should come and explain. I will not. Okay,
but I'm just asking that so far, have they given the political parties any explanations?
So after we did our press conference, then they came out and their statement was misleading video on the Ableco.
Exactly.
And in that misleading video, they denied that the video is not accurate. However, ironically, they admitted that the contents of the video are correct.
How is that possible?
Because they said we should ignore the misleading video, and that they authorize their officials to do
the new ID cards.
So the question is, first of all, by law and by convention, how are ID cards produced? You go to the polling station, they look at you, take a picture of you in the presence of agents, and they do a card for you. So if, for example, there's any issue, what has to be done is that you inform the people concerned, and then you get the political parties involved, and we all agree on the modalities. So if you have to go through the same process, then you do. Here is a situation where the very people involved, you haven't informed them. Okay? So how would they know?
Exactly.
So for example, let me use Ashama. 7,000 names have been deleted from, are not on the register. Or in some cases, let's talk about the duplication. So you have one PIN number for 10, 50, 100 people, or 2 people sharing one PIN number. The first thing you do is that you must get the people informed, because the way registration works and exhibition works, not everybody will go and check his name.
Obviously, because if I have my ID card, I think I'm good to go.
Exactly. So how would the person sitting in his house know that he or she falls among those 7,000 or 200 or 500? So that's the first thing. You didn't inform anyone. Then, following from that, you have to inform the political parties, and then we all agree on the processes and procedures. You didn't do that. And then now you are printing ID cards based on what? So what if they print 100 ID cards, and then somebody also prints 100 fake ones and keeps them? So the whole election has been opened up to fraud.
It's in a mess.
It's chaotic, you know? And then you also have places where, like I said, people's names, there's a particular place, I just want to give you, the places are so many, but there are some places where over 413 people at the polling station, only 3 names appeared.
What happened to the rest? Missing.
Vanish. And this and these are not isolated cases. So if as I was coming, we were compiling today's reports, because we've set up a call center.
Yeah.
Today's report will be triple this.
So even this one is small.
No, this is just the first day.
This is day 1?
Yes, this is day 1.
And it's how many pages already?
So it's the whole thing is incredible.
Okay,
so you ask yourself, why is it that if, for example, in Ashama, 7,000 people's names are not on the list, those 7,000, everybody will assume that they are all ordinary voters, right? So they may vote for NDC and MPP. Why is MPP not complaining?
Yeah, quite. But Ashama, we heard that was 21,000. How did it come to 7,000?
Okay, so again, that is an example of the duplicity of the EC. So I told you that they asked us to bring a flash drive, which we did, and then they gave us the data, and then they recalled the data. Of course, we kept a copy, and they sent it back to them. Then the following day, they brought us, after the first day, they brought us the data they're using now. So in Ashiaman, the MP went to his polling station the first day and didn't find his name in the register.
Exactly.
And he issued a statement, he complained, wrote to the EC. So the following day, this second data, they then changed it and brought it, which had his name. Instead of the EC admitting that, oh, we're sorry, we had a challenge with our data and therefore we've now rectified it, they rather took a picture, a screenshot of that new one register with this picture and put it out in the public domain to make it
was misleading the general public. Yes, but what I'm saying is that doesn't mean that all the names that we cannot find in this register, they have.
So eventually, with the second one, they now found 14,000 names. And so it's left with 7,000 names.
So is there a possibility that they can produce those 7,000 names by close of day?
They should and they must.
Okay.
They have no option. You see, the right to vote, it is holy. Do you understand me? In a democracy, the right to vote is like virginity. It is holy. It's like virginity.
Sacred.
Sacred. And it's inviolable.
Exactly.
That is why in the Tenabi case, it's a Supreme Court case, and we are waiting for our judges. Let them rule against their own president this time. Then we know that this democracy has failed.
Exactly.
Because the right to vote is inviolable. Every single person who has been registered by the Electoral Commission who has a card must be allowed to vote. Anyway, anyhow, Whichever way they'll do it is their responsibility. They were the ones who were giving 1 billion Ghana cedis. They have to do it. They must ensure that everybody gets the opportunity to get his name on the register. We are not going to accept a situation where people have toiled, stood in the sun, gone through all the stress, and then they register, and then at the end of the day, the EC in collusion with other forces will remove their names from the register and think that they'll get away with it. It's not going to happen.
Okay, tell me about the EC's short code, and do you think that it is reliable?
So the EC short code, the feedback we're getting is that in some cases, when people put in their data and they check their short code, the information they get, when they go to the field to go and check, is different from what they get from the short code. And that will be obvious because if the data itself is messed up, like I told you, the EC, theoretically, or even practically, we can say that they now have 2 sets of data. The first one they give to us on the 17th, and the second one they give to us on the 9th of the 18th. And as I'm speaking, they are still updating their data. They think we don't know, we know. So eventually there's going to be a third database. So depending on which database you assess, you get different figures. The whole thing is a mess.
Okay, so the EC has been responding to the NDC and the flag bearer. Our attention has been drawn to the statements in the media by the National Democratic Congress and its flag bearer to the effect that the Electoral Commission is carrying out an agenda to remove the names of its supporters and sympathizers from the voter register. This allegation is false, and false is emphasized. The Commission has, from the beginning of the compilation of the voters register, lived up to its motto: fairness, transparency, and accountability. Indeed, at every point we have provided factual, accurate, and evidence-based information to our stakeholders on voter statistics per region, district, gender, age, amongst others. To date, every interested Ghanaian has information on the number of persons who registered in the just concluded voter registration exercise based on the information we provided. It is a paradox, therefore, to suggest that the same commission now seeks to remove persons from the voter register. Had that been the agenda of the commission, it would not have given detailed information to stakeholders throughout the registration process. We assure the general public that these allegations are unfounded. For the information of the public, the exhibition of the Provisional Voters Register has been provided by the law CI 91. The law recognized that a registration process is not foolproof, has provided a mechanism called the exhibition to allow citizens to verify their details to ensure that they are captured in the register or that their details such as sex, age, name, etc. are accurate. The exhibition also affords voters the opportunity to correct any errors detected. Additionally, the law provides for inclusion to allow persons who registered but whose names are not in the register to file to be included in the register. This process is not new and has always formed part of our processes. In a nutshell, the exhibition exercise provides an opportunity to stakeholders to unearth problems with the register for the purpose of fixing it. This is exactly what the Electoral Commission is doing. We are fixing the issues on earth. We assure the public that the Commission is working to ensure that the margin of the error with the voters register is negligible. We are confident that at the end of the process, we will bequeath the nation with a register that reflects truth and integrity, a register that is credible and comprises eligible Ghanaians only. May God bless our homeland Ghana and make our nation great and strong.
Then let
peace reign.
Really?
Yes.
Have you seen a thief? A thief who has been caught stealing and will admit that.
So clearly, what do you make of this statement?
It's gibberish. You see, this EC, they invest a lot in PR. Last time I told them they should invest in integrity. Because those words are meaningless. As we are talking, a chairman, we are not talking about any, a chairman.
7,000 names.
7,000
and you
names.
have time to be responding with press releases and press statements. Go and solve the problem.
If you fix a chairman, then I'll have confidence in you.
Exactly. They have no business issuing such press releases.
You know,
I'm disappointed.
They spend time press conferences and all that, they have no integrity. And I'm telling you that these people, they are baptized with lies. I sat with EC people to plan a trip on Ropa to the US. When the time came, they took the name, they didn't take my name. And they told everybody, oh, I was not available. When I confronted them, they started saying different stories. Eventually, they said, oh, you take your passport to the US Embassy. Well, we've spoken to them. When I went to the university,
clearly they are stalking trade.
These are people who just lie. These are dangerous people to our democracy. They have no integrity. They have no.
But that's serious for our democracy.
Yes.
Especially when we have few days to elections.
At the appropriate time. In any case, why? The evidence is so clear. How many inclusion forms have they sent to Ashama? They should tell us.
Okay.
Ashama is
out of the 7,000 missing names.
Let's use Ashama as a case study. I'm not talking about places where, and all over the country, please, multimedia, send your correspondence. Let them go and check. They don't send enough inclusion forms because these things that are happening in the past, maybe 5 places, 10 places, 10 names. We all know that registration, and that's why you do exhibition to make minor changes. Maybe my name is Elvis, a free Ankara. They'll make it a free year Ankara without an
Those
age.
are minor
changes here and there. Once a while, male, female, names, faces, it happens. But on this extent, this scale,
huge names missing from the register.
And strangely enough, they themselves said it's happening in 100 districts. In the past, how many districts did this happen at? And what was the extent? And can they compare to this man? It's a gargantuan mess.
Yes, and we are talking about over 100,000 names missing.
It's incredible. I mean, so please, they don't have inclusion forms at most polling stations. In fact, when I was coming, I got a call from Bono that one of the villages, there's no EC official. They've not been there for 3 days. And in some of the places that there were reports, and Honorable Doaja was telling me in his constituency, some of the branches that people went and couldn't find their names. When they went back today, there was nobody there, no EC officer.
They packed out?
They packed out. I mean, it's so...
How reliable is this short code? I'm worried about it because I see a lot of people sending, and it's supposed to be free, but it is not because we are tied 30%. The EC should be responsible for that fee.
Did they inform the public?
Nothing. I haven't seen any communication about that.
Transparency and fairness. In any case, if they are transparent and fair, why did they not call an IPAC meeting to discuss the modalities for the exhibition before the exhibition started? If they are transparent and fair, why is it that Honorable Ernest Nongbe asked them for details of their procurement? They didn't give him. He even went to court. There's a court order today, transparent EC. You haven't obeyed the court order. Produce evidence of procurement. You haven't produced it. And you sit there and talk about transparency.
So do you think that people should rely on this short code?
No,
should send...
I will advise that people should go and check. Go and check. Because you see, in a democracy, the only way we can either maintain a government or change the government is by our vote. That vote is sacred, it's sacrosanct, it's inviolable. It's like virginity, as I said, it's holy. So when you vote, it must reflect,
of course,
what happens on the ground. So anybody who denies you a vote is like raping you democratically.
Exactly, without your consent.
Exactly, democratic rape. So every citizen must ensure that you go out there and go and ensure that your name is there. Because MPP, they know they are leaving.
Okay, so this 8 days for exhibition, what is the party doing about it? Because clearly we need an extension.
Oh, tomorrow you hear from our flag bearer. I don't want to preempt our flag bearer, you know. So tomorrow you hear from him all the things that we intend to do. But let me just assure Ghanaians and assure the EC and their MPP partners. You see, this country called Ghana, it's a different country. This is Kwame Nkrumah's Ghana. We won independence here. The white people, they were not ready to leave. Here, we didn't fire one gun, and yet we sacked them.
Exactly.
You understand me? MPP, whether they do whatever, they will go.
Of course.
December.
The people of Ghana have decided.
The people of Ghana have decided. Whatever they do, they will go. Nana Addo will leave. He won't be president again. So they better take it easy. And the EC, they must think of tomorrow. Because whatever they are doing, everybody is watching them. They are leaving a trail. Posterity will judge them. And
there are many who simply thought that it wasn't necessary for your flag bearer to cut short his tour around the Bono region to come and deal with this situation. There are many who simply think it was a populist decision because obviously he has no power to change anything the EC is doing. Do you think that it was a good reason to get him to come back into the Capitol to hold this press conference that has been advertised for tomorrow?
The people asking those questions, let me also ask them a hypothetical question. Do they have facts and data about the extent of this mess? Obviously, they don't. I'm the director of elections, okay? And from where I sit and the entire executive, what we are seeing, it is frightening, okay? Just imagine the situation that these 7,000 people are not allowed to have their names on the register. Plus 3,000 here.
And the 7,000 is just a constituency.
One constituency. Now imagine, and they don't know. And on election day, they take their cards, go to polling station 1, go to polling station 2. They can't find their names. They can't find their names. By 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, you know what will happen in this country? All across the country.
Yes.
And people think they can get away with this. They're joking. Look, I've been a student leader. I have seen things. No amount of guns. I saw some funny display of some guns and I said, well, look at this. Even countries that have nuclear weapons, people are dealing with them. Then you are talking about this Kafube guns.
I like the Kafube bit.
No amount of guns can stop the will of people. People should learn from history. You can't. It's a movement. This one is not apartheid. I went to school. Mm-hmm. You understand me? People, you cannot stop the will of the people.
It's called the people's power.
You cannot. Nanado will leave. He will lose this election, whichever way, whatever they do.
So you simply think that there's a calculated attempt to disenfranchise voters?
So it is a calculated attempt that has met with incompetence. Yeah. So it's a marriage between incompetence and an attempt to cheat, which has all gone back because God is not on their side. Everything that they do is exposed. Is
this going to delay the process towards the 7th of December? Because clearly, after the exhibition, there are other events that the EC has to go through before the 7th of December. Will this delay it?
Well, that's not for me to say. What we are saying is that every Ghanaian who went to queue to register has a card who, through no fault of his, they don't work at EC, they are not IT people, they didn't collect any 1 billion budget. They are not the ones who said they're going to bring a brand new shining register when there was
one we haven't seen before.
We haven't seen before. They are not any of those people. You EC said you wanted a new register. We cautioned you. Don't do it. All these issues, we raised it. You said you're going to go ahead and do it. Whichever way you are going to do it, you must. Because it's their right.
Of course.
And recently, a court has given an order that somebody should make to it. And I'm always referring to the Tenadi case. One man, off registration period, he went to court. And the Supreme Court ruled that he must be allowed to register. That is precedence. Supreme Court is law. So anybody who has a card will register, will vote on that day.
Whether your name is not on the register,
you will vote
or not.
If it's in people's bedroom, we'll go and vote there. We're not taking this lightly at all because it's just annoying. Look at the stress people went through. Look at people in places like Kaswa, where people were beaten, people were maimed, invincible forces here and there. And after you go through all that,
people have been killed
from the register. Somebody died. Poor Silas. May his soul rest in peace.
Rest in perfect peace.
And then you just remove people's names from the register. You created a problem, so you have to fix it. So they should spare us all this talk about their transparency.
Anyway, our time is up. Let's take your final word.
So my final word is that Ghanaians should rest assured that we are not going to allow this to go lying down. We're going to fight and ensure that every Ghanaian, and mind you, I'm saying every Ghanaian, not NDC, every Ghanaian, including NDC people who registered, will be given the opportunity to vote. That's number one. Number two, I have a few words for our friends some of our friends in civil society, the clergy and the media. And I said this at a press conference. The silence of some of them in the wake of some of the atrocious things happening is no longer golden. We normally say, oh, silence is golden. Elders, Penin, Diamante, they don't speak. But where we are getting to, with all the things that are going on, if they continue to be silent, it is no longer golden. It's almost criminal. Because you have atrocious things happening. 10% of these things did not happen during the NDC era.
And it could simply not have passed.
And then
I'm sure that John Mahama would have been in trouble.
From all these associations and clergy groups and all that. And some of them, some of these EC people, they go and say they are going for prayers. What are you praying for them for? You are praying on top of their evil. When they go down to cancel them. So they must wake up and speak. Because you see, one day, posterity will judge all of them. The eminent elders, all of them, almost all of them are people I know personally. Very close relations. I respect every single one of them. When they were going to join those eminent advisory group, we told them, don't do it. So right now that the EC has messed up, do we take it that they were part of the advisory group?
So clearly they ill-advised the EC.
Well, should they be held responsible? So they will have an opportunity now to redeem themselves by speaking truth to the EC.
Will they be able to do that?
It's up to them. Posterity will check them. Otherwise, if they don't, I'm giving a chairman as a case study. You just imagine what will happen on 7th December if these 7,000 people are not allowed. You think you can contain them?
Do you think that is something that can be rectified?
Oh, it can be rectified. No two ways about it. If you know, consistently, civil society organizations, Bright Simmons, Imani, we ask for technical audit. We said we have IT experts. You recall, you see, when they started this process, we said in the past, what happened was that there was a joint committee, technical committee, legal committee. So we looked at the processes, the equipment, and all those things, the software, the hardware, and all the processes. So the parties were involved, though. That's how we did the first biometric register. This one, they did their own thing. They said, oh, they don't need us. We are all...
How does the NDC feel now?
We feel very sad. I wish I could say we've been vindicated, but I can't say that. Because you see, the implications are too grievous for the country. But we told them, don't do it. Now you've done. We were praying and hoping that at least get it right so that we can go and remove this Akufo-Addo and have our peace. Because when they did that, it took us 3 days and we were able to mobilize. I remember when we were doing the struggle, people were asking us, what's your plan B?
To what end?
What's your plan B? I said, no, when we get there, we'll cross that bridge. It took us 3 days to mobilize our people, and our people registered
massively
in their numbers. The data is there to show. So having been disappointed because they were expecting that our people will not register or boycott, now they have to do manipulation of figures, and they're doing it in a very brazen, blatant manner. Please, 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 please. They better hear and they better hear it well. We will not fire one gun. We will not fire one shot. We don't have any gun. We don't have any bullet. But believe me, we will stop them. They can't. They can't stand the force of the people. They cannot.
Indeed, they cannot stand the force of the people. Thank you very much for your time this evening. We are very grateful. You have heard it all. The conduct of this current electoral commission is a recipe for disaster. As citizens and not spectators, we have a role to play in ensuring that the electoral commission conducts itself in a manner which will ensure a credible, free and fair elections. Speak out if the need be. Kicking this government out is a communal labor. The voter registration exhibition is still ongoing. I encourage you to visit your centers to ensure your names are on the register to accomplish the rescue mission come the 7th of December 2020. Tomorrow, the leader and flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, will speak to the nation from the NDC headquarters in Adabraka on the integrity challenges of the electoral process and unfolding events that threaten to undermine Ghana and its stability as well as its democracy. As a listening leader, he heard the reports. He cut short his tour in the Bono region, came down, got his briefing, and is set to address the nation tomorrow at exactly 1 p.m. Indeed, I trust JM. He is our surest bet to put Ghana back on the path of progress. Until then, see you same time next week. It's been a beautiful program with the Honorable Elozi Frianka, who's the Elections Director of the National Democratic Congress. Thank you very much for your time. I am grateful. I've been ably produced by Yaya Kuku and Abna Babu. My name is Obobia Dako Opoku. Good night.